Hey, welcome to the Wealth Rules Podcast. I'm Vickie Helm. Today, we are going to go deep into a topic that I think is so important. And I know that many of you have probably thought there are some hidden rules about wealth that I don't know about, that I need to know in order to secure my wealth, be wealthy, and steward my wealth. So today, we're the hosts of the Wealth Rules Podcast. And I'm here with my partner, Monique, and we are going to have such a great time. But first, Monique, can we just check in with you and say hello and see how you're doing?
Hello, yes, I'm doing wonderful. Been doing a lot of traveling. My baby made it to the States to the final, so I'm super excited about that. And really excited about the topics that we're going to be discussing today from our book, The Hidden Rules, that's coming out May the 26th.
Thank you. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I want to tell a story. I really want to make this first. I want to say hi, Jules. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show. Today, I just want to tell you the truth about how I learned these hidden rules. Now, I didn't know this all my life. My dad, I have a biological father and a stepdad, and this guy raised me, and he was, the better dad, even though I had some time with his dad. But what happened was he used to tell us he was in the army during the Korean War or something. That was along one of the wars back then. And we always used to ask him, what did he do in the army? And he'd say, I was a spy. And then we'd say, what did you do? What did you do? And he'd say, I can't tell you. There are some things that I just can't
Mm,
tell you. I can't tell you.
right.
And he would tell us a story about this. He went to the bar one night with all his army buddies, and one of his buddies got a little too happy and had a little too tipsy, and the filter dropped. And he said he started talking. And the next day, they never saw him again. So, in that next day, he was really, really uh, nervous about saying anything. So I don't know what happened, but he took it to his grave. But on the way to his grave, my dad made his money illegally. And he started off with marijuana back when it was federally banned, and he did some time in jail for growing marijuana plants. But then he graduated because he was a very smart chemist and everything else. And he was in Bolivia making cocaine and shipping it back to the United States.
Mm,
So I lived this very illegal life, but he made a fortune. And I mean a fortune. And he had to launder that money. And now this was way back. I would never try anything that he did. There's just no way I would do it. But he knew the rules so well about how to launder money, move money, how money worked, what it was really about, who was in charge of it. And I got those lessons. I got those
mm,
lessons very young.
mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was embarrassed by them. I did not want to, I was ashamed of what they did, blah, blah, blah. And so then I swung the other way. I was like, okay, I see how you make your money. Oh, steward your money, own your money, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I went the other way and I got all the financial licenses, all of them, the six, the
Mm-hmm.
26, the 63s, blah, blah, blah. And I worked in finance for doing that for over a decade. And what I was looking at, I was always evaluating contracts, evaluating. Now, I just didn't do that. I worked for Janus Funds. I've worked for some of the bigger firms around the United States. My
Mm-hmm.
degree's in accounting and finance. So I had all this. I swung to this side. And after about, I don't know, year number 5, I started noticing that this system over here was as equally as corrupt as I thought my father was. I was like,
Mm,
this system is so bad, and I wanted it to work. I wanted to be on the good side. And I even spent time as a police officer. I was so opposite of not
right.
wanting, I wanted to be the law abiding citizen. And so what happened was, um, my dad so fortunately, I started thinking about what my dad taught me and what these people were teaching me.
Mm-hmm.
And I evaluated both really deeply, evaluated both. And I was like, this is the legal way to steal your money. And you're making an illegal product, but taking the money and making it legal and under your stewardship. These people take your stewardship away. So having access is always permission based. And I started thinking and watching, I read contracts. I watched a woman lose $12 million to a
Oof.
contract from a big company that said, oh, yeah, we're going to take care of your offspring and everything else. So I started thinking and I was like, there's Bernie Madoff, there's
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of corruption on that side. So I went and I swung back the other way. And then I started putting this together a little differently. I put it together legally. And I realized as I was doing my study that this was the original way people used to create wealth. And then we created the market way that people create
Mm-hmm.
wealth. And so what happened was when my dad died, he died at 89. You go through all this stuff and things. You go through all this stuff. You're looking for stuff to take to the memorial to put on the
Mm-hmm.
shelf and everything else. And my sister and I found this binder, and inside of it, there was a Medal of Honor or something that he got from his time as a spy. But what I found out was he was a CIA spy. And I was like,
Mm.
huh.
Wow.
And I was like, my dad lived both sides. He was in the CIA and he was doing things illegally. And I realized what he realized. He understood that this system is meant to control, and this system was meant to keep you free.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put those things together, I started looking at where all the hidden rules were about wealth that they don't want people to know about now. They only want you to have vision towards one thing. So when I talk to you about this, and we're like, there's so many hidden rules that people
Yes.
don't know that secure wealth. And
Mm-hmm.
today we're going to dive into three of them, I think. Is that right?
That's correct. Three.
Yeah. So,
And we'll do more another day, but today we're doing three.
mhm. And the reason we're doing that is because if you know the rules to wealth, the real rules to wealth, you have discernment and you can
Mhm.
advocate for yourself better. And you'd probably make different choices
Yes.
if you knew what that type of wealth was. So I opted out of market wealth. I don't even like that industry anymore. I'm very, very much about stewarding wealth. And here's the thing I learned. And before we start, I want you to know this. They have made wealth very complicated. They've
Mm-hmm.
made it so complicated. It's now, if you want to own wealth or have wealth or learn about wealth, you have to have a license. You have
Yes.
to pay dues. You have to be audited all the time. They have made wealth very, very, non-accessible to the average person. And so right now, and I think Monique would agree with me, and I want
Mm-hmm.
your opinion on this.
Sure.
They have made cryptocurrencies and digital wealth very hard to understand right now because
Mm-hmm.
they don't want you to know how important it is. Do you know what I mean?
It was hard to understand in the beginning. I would tell people that it was like writing a proof, just trying to get all the information. If you're not really good at math and understanding technology, the application of it in the very beginning, I felt like it was hard. You had to open up a wallet, then you had to get those key phrases, and I've lost. I don't even want to talk about it, but I've lost money forgetting my key phrases, and then I couldn't. I'm locked out of my account. I can't even access my Bitcoin that I had back then. But they do make it very, very hard to understand. They make it hard for you to get into it. And then once you have your wallet, you're not the owner of it. Somebody else is the wallet holder, the
Yeah.
one that's protecting it. And then you had so many fees whenever you wanted the gas fees, whenever you tried to buy Bitcoin and sell Bitcoin and send it to your other wallet and somebody else. It was just getting to the point where it cost more. It didn't make sense for you to spend the money trading it. You just
Yeah.
wanted to hold it, and holding it was one of the things that they were wanting you to do. They were making money off. They make money off of it today. People holding crypto.
Yeah. And so the thing is, the complication is by design. And that's why they're hidden. The design of how they keep you permission based, how they keep you stuck. So, the first thing I want to talk about today, before why we did the hidden rules, was because the truth is, most people right now feel stuck. They
Yes.
don't know what to do, or they just feel stuck. And when they feel stuck, they blame themselves. They
Hmm.
don't think it's the structure that's setting them up to be stuck. And it is the structure exactly. I have read with this evaluating contracts, and I mean insurance contracts, uh,
Hmm.
any kind of equity contracts, any kind of, and when I was working for Janus Funds, I was an auditor. I did international auditing. I
Hmm.
know how they designed the stuckness purposely inside the contracts. And what's been happening is they sell the stuckness in a way that feels good to us in the
Hmm.
beginning. And you
Yes.
don't realize what you're giving up as rights, what you're giving up as power, what you're giving up as sovereignty in order to participate in these things. So what happens is the permission gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter
Hmm.
and tighter. And there's a point where you can't really move the way you would want to move inside the system that's been created. And I am very much like Robert Kiyosaki. I am very anti the market. I'm
Hmm.
very, very much like Grant Cardone. He's like, really wealthy people don't invest in the market. Stupid people invest in the market. Now, that's quoting him. I'm not saying you're stupid
Right.
or anyone else is
Right.
stupid for sure. But what I think is there's been hidden rules now. We're going to talk about today what they don't tell you when they tell you about wealth. Go ahead. What would you like to share with us today?
When we're talking about being stuck, especially in today's economy, I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who are like myself, they were saying, how did I get here? How did I end up stuck? I'm smart, I'm educated, I'm financially literate. How did I end up in a place where you feel like your power is gone or you're
Yeah.
feeling confused about what is happening? How did I end up here? But it's because one, like rule number three, is convenience is never free. We're in a sedated state. And when we're in a sedated state, like we have our faculties about us in some instances, but our discernment is weakened. So now we're
That's right.
just going day to day, accepting, clicking on, buying into. It's so convenient. And it's because we're so overwhelmed day to day that our work life, our family life, everything is a lot. So whatever feels like it's easy or making our life easier, we bought into. Like the reason why Google is giving away, everything for free. You have Google Docs, Google Drive, Google this, Google that. And we
Mm-hmm.
just accept.
Mm-hmm.
Not even reading the contract, right? Not even reading the terms of agreement. We don't even know what they're doing with our data. We just rather have access for a more convenient life than we would be able to take the time, a little bit of friction, but that pause. I know, even online, like on social media, they're always saying speed is success. If you move too slow, you're missing out. Go get it, respond fast. But sometimes you need to take a pause. You need to step back, let that
And
friction in your life
evaluate.
and discernment weigh in on whether or not that app is good for you or not.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about this. We're talking about what's the hidden rule? Is it number 3 hidden rule? And read the hidden rule again. Here's the hidden rule number 3. Is
Convenience
it?
is never free as sedation.
So that's the whole thing. Convenience is never free. It acts as sedation. The
Mhm.
way it sedates you is by making it convenient for you. And the convenience means somehow that your life is going to be easier if you outsource the task. I mean, we outsource the task every day. Even using a microwave is outsourcing the task of cooking. And
Yes.
what it's there in its convenient thing is faster food, easier food. And so what happens is when you outsource your wealth, you think it's one less thing that you have to think about, yet one less thing, you know. So that whole process that she's talking about, where the convenience is uh, it's sold in the terms of service.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter what terms of service, and the terms of service have gotten so arduously big that the thought of reading through the terms of service, like I think there's some that are 36 to 40 pages long,
Hmm.
you before you use that or buy that or make that, yes, it just says, at the bottom, it shows a little of the terms of service.
Hmm.
It says 36 pages, and then it says, I agree. And you're like, I could just agree, or I have to read all these terms of service, and I need to get through this fast. And you hit that I agree button, and now it has access to absolutely everything on your phone, every
Everything.
picture, everything in perpetuity. And
Yes.
people don't understand how much money that convenience that she's talking about is costing you. So for example, do you know this is a real, it was done by I forget what university, but the average person has $155,000 worth of digital assets that they give away for free. And I was telling Monique, I mean, if you had $155,000 lying around, wouldn't you
There's no
want
way
to
I'm
know
giving
where
it
it
away.
is? There's no
There's no
way.
way.
There's no way you'd have handed it over. But the thing is, you don't know how they're making money on you. So I have a friend who is like one of my best friends in the world, and his name is Donnie, and he is half Japanese and half American. And on his Japanese side, he's royalty. He is dynasty, is kings, queens, and everything else. And when he was on Facebook, he's not on Facebook now, but when he was on Facebook, he did this beautiful little write up. They had the wedding photo of his family, which was a dynasty family.
Hmm.
His mom and sitting, or the dad is sitting down. I can't remember, mom or dad is sitting down. And I think the woman was behind, with
Hmm.
um it's this beautiful wedding photo. And he
Right.
put some other photos up on Facebook with his lineage line story, which I thought was so cool and it was so beautiful. And so now these photos are rare. They don't have access to these dynasty photos. But now Facebook owns it. Facebook can do anything they want with those photos. So they
Yes.
could sell it to 23andMe, all the lineage line things that everybody's there. And
Hmm.
guess how much money Donnie got from that?
A
Zero.
goose egg. A goose egg.
Yeah, that's it. He got nothing. He shared, which is what we're invited to do on Facebook.
Yes.
Continuously share, continuously have the conversation. And one of the things is when you have those conversations and you're putting all those stuff, it doesn't matter what your photos are. You think you're sharing them with your family. But
Hmm.
all the time, there's the lineage line. Here's everything in my family. Here's the data I'm gathering, and it's continuous. And everybody knows their data is being sold, but they don't know
Yes.
how, and they don't know how much money is being made off of that data.
You
So
know,
go ahead.
one of the things that I started doing um, since we start having this discussion about hidden rules is taking AI, well, taking the TOS and putting it in AI and having it read back what was important and what was I losing. And a lot of stuff would really surprise you. You wouldn't be on half the stuff that you were on once you saw, especially the financial apps.
Yeah.
Those are really dangerous, and I just refuse.
Even a
If it's
flashlight
not my
app.
own personal banking account, yes, yes.
There's a point where there are people who are confusing access with safety.
Hmm.
And access is, yes, you can use the tool. It's kind of like, I got to be honest, it's why I'm not on Facebook anymore. It's like I'm rarely on Facebook. And if I share something, it's something from the past. I'm not really sharing anything new. And if
Hmm.
it's new, it's benign and it doesn't have me inside the picture of that. You know what I mean? Because I look at all the digital treasure, but people no longer understand what wealth actually is. And they don't understand what assets actually are. And we
Hmm.
think we do. We don't like to even think that we don't know something. We don't like to think that somehow there's something else to learn. But it's it's so important to understand what's being built right now because it's your money that's getting siphoned out. Just
Hmm.
imagine right now what an extra $155,000 would mean to you. What if there was a place where you could sell your data in the way you wanted to sell it?
Hmm.
What if you had control of it? So there it's, the account for history right now. It's kind of like in the spirituality frame, what's happening with the internet and all these things is they're making the Akashic records on
Hmm.
earth. Like,
Yes.
everything, all knowledge is out
Hmm.
there, everything's out there, and it's all just becoming fodder for these companies to make money with, which is why they want, all these data centers
Hmm.
there because they have to place the data somewhere. The Akashic records, I don't know how it works on the other side of the veil, but here there's a maintaining it that is
Right.
an interesting thing. So, number 3, I think, is one of the most important hidden
Hmm.
rules. And here's the thing, I want you to read it again because I need for you to ingest it in yourself and just ask yourself, how much convenience am I purchasing to let go of my own ownership and wealth?
Right. Because convenience is never free, and it's used as a sedation.
Hmm.
Another
That's
thing
right.
is we're talking about how do we get stuck? How do we get stuck in this society because of convenience? We don't cook anymore, like you said. Not only the microwave, we have Uber just dropping food at our door. You don't have to get out, go in your vehicle, go to the store, go to the restaurant, and sit down to get your favorite food anymore. It's delivered straight to your door. You pay a little bit more, but you know what? I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to get dressed. I didn't want to go down to the kitchen and cook something and have a cupboard full of food. I don't want to have to even think for myself anymore. Instead of building AI, now I'm just using it, asking it, what should I do today? What should I eat? It's asking for advice. So you don't have to use your brain. You don't want to have to think about extra things. You just want to have to be bothered with what you do day to day that you feel like you have to control. When really we should be controlling everything. So, Vickie, if somebody is saying, hey, I want to get unstuck, I'm sitting here and I know that I'm being sedated. How do I become unsedated? How do I get from being a person that is reliant on convenience to a person that has the mindset shift that says, you know what? I'm no longer going to opt into this. I'm going to be the
Yeah.
person that's going to get off Facebook and choose the $155,000 to remain in my possession versus just give
Yes.
it away.
Well, one of the first things is you don't realize how much of your margin is being usurped by things who are adding margin for convenience. So people are paying for convenience, but we don't even know what that means when you say that people pay for convenience. And I want to register that for your mind. So I'm going to turn and flip and go, let's be a marketer for a minute. There are three levels of people, and people have A, B, and C bill people. So the thing about the A bill and the C bill people, the marketing, when you look at it, has the first type of person. The first type of person has to get the better half of the deal or they
Excuse me.
won't do the deal. If they don't think like they're winning with the biggest margin or the biggest portion of
Mhm.
the deal, they're not going to do it. So they're the people who like 50% off, and they're very sales driven. They're the people who go to Walmart just before Christmas when they're the Black Friday shoppers. They
Mhm.
are looking for the best deal. They
Right.
do not care about anything else as long as they believe or think that they are saving money. And so you can see that when you're selling to those people, you have to do the 30% off, 50% off. It's on sale for an hour. You get 30% off for the next hour, but after that, the price goes up.
Mhm.
And so that's the first type of person. Then there's the B, which is the middle income people. Those people you sell time savers to. Why? Because they're busy. These are the people
Yes.
who want to fit in. The
Mhm.
B bill mindset is that they want to fit in. They want to have, they're the kids who, Mom, I can't go to school without my Nikes. I can't go to school without
Mhm.
my brand sales. I can't go to work without that. I can't do that. And they buy conveniences. And so a couple of years back, I want to say around 2012, the boomers everywhere were buying Harley Davidson motorcycles.
Mhm.
And they were everywhere. They're still like, oh my God, I got my Harley. I'm on my Harley. There's my Harley. It's my Harley. And what they were doing was trying to fit in. It was the cool thing to do now. These people like trendy stuff. So they like QVC and they
Mhm.
like Instapots, whatever's for sale that is going to make things quicker, faster, better. That's the second group of people who buy.
Right.
This is the people who buy convenience the most. It is why they are pitched the most. It is
Mhm.
why you see on TV. This is the, as soon as you want to fit in or belong or look trendy or get trendy stuff, if you're stuck in that trendy lifestyle, this is where all your margin's going.
Right.
And it's going there because these people are, they like want to be cool. They want to be with it. They want to be fly. They want to be all that in a bag of chips. And so what ends up happening is their margin dies right here. But
Mhm.
this is where most people are sold to, spend to, and get in the most debt. Then there's the A bill client. The A bill client, they're the you know, high net worth individual. And
Right.
what they buy is quality of life. And
Mhm.
the mindset of where you are, this is like poverty mindset. I have to get the best deal. I have to get that. If I don't feel like I'm getting the most for my money, I'm out of the deal. And
Right.
so you have to talk to them in their wealth speak. You have to be like, wow, you're getting a good deal today because, and you have to have a real reason because. And over here, it's like everybody's doing this. This is the coolest, fastest thing. It slices, it dices, it does whatever. And so those are the people who are like, I have the latest iPhone. I
Mhm.
didn't need to buy the latest iPhone, but I have to have the latest iPhone. This is where wealth is performed and people
Mhm.
get stuck. And this is the people who make, I would say, 80,000 a year to about 400,000 a year.
Mhm.
Because somewhere in there, you start being sold equity, private equity. You
Yes.
start from here.
Mhm.
This is where they want you to feel good with it and in. And they
Mhm.
know how to make that little romantic thing between you and them. And then they pitch you and you invest because, the whole mindset is
Yeah.
that B bill mindset. Quality of life is very different. Quality of life considers what you want. This is a very hard thing to sell, but once you sell it to them, they stay with you. Like, this is the person I have. So for me, I have a guy that is my car salesman. And
Mm-hmm.
he literally, I call him up and I go, I want a truck. I wanted this. I wanted that. And he takes it down for me and he's like, well, what do you want? What do you want? Well, when you're up here, you have vacation people. Set me up here. Whatever you're in here, it's all about your quality of life. If it
Right.
doesn't fit into your quality of life, you don't like it. You don't want it. So it's also about ownership up here. People in the quality of life area. So what happens is, to answer your question, is you have to know what mindset you're dealing with. You have
Mm-hmm.
to figure out where you want to be in this mindset, because this thinker here does not think like this. Nobody goes and says, you know what, I want a Rolls Royce, but I'm going to wait till the 50% off deal comes up. Oh, you know what I mean?
Right.
It
They
doesn't
don't. They
happen.
don't.
I
They get
want
it
this
because they want it.
million. That's right. It's I want this $1 million home because it has these features and I want it, not because it's going on sale.
No.
And these people here, they don't ever say, I want to fit in if it's only 50% off or 70% off. Oh, I'll take it at 30% off. So these people think very different. How fast is this going to make my life? Am I going to look cool? These people here have these people have poverty mentality.
Mm-hmm.
These people have self-esteem issues.
Right.
And these people up here have a bit of discernment. But the thing is, once you know that game, that's the hidden rule.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, how to get out of it is admit where you are in the game. So
Mm-hmm.
when I first found this out from my mentor, I realized that I was in these two things. Like I wanted to be at the millionaire conference, but I wanted it to be with the ticket that was the cheapest ticket I could get to go to this conference. I didn't buy the VIP, blah, blah, blah. So what happens is if you go to like a Tony Robbins event,
Mm-hmm.
and you're with Tony Robbins, he has seating that's like the VIPs are here and other people are here. And the point of that is so that you can see where your mindset is.
It is.
He
Yeah.
knows this, whole here's this A bill thinking, buying people, B bill, here's this C bill people. And what you have to do is figure out where you are. And you could be a combination of I'm a B bill person and an A bill person, or I'm a B bill person and a C bill person,
Mm-hmm.
or no, I am the C bill buyer. I'm a C bill buyer. And so what happens is all the marketing that's done to you is done exact. They know what your self
They
esteem
do.
is based on where you are. Are you in Walmart on Black Friday? Are you at Sam's Club on Black Friday trying to get that 32-inch screen TV for your son for Christmas at 60% discount? Are you getting in fights over, the toys that are there for your kids? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know
100%.
how it's the world runs that way.
Yes.
So
Whenever I
huge
see, I'm
go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
Whenever I
whenever
see on online, somebody will post like an early bird special. Like,
Mhm.
why is it an early bird special? Why is there a special for this event? Why is it not just valued at what it's
Yes.
valued at?
Yeah.
What is going on with and when if you get the early bird special, the first 150 people, of course they're going to create a sense of urgency because they want you to feel like you're going to miss out if you don't.
Mhm.
When I get that, that's a sales tactic. But whenever, and that's what rule is that? Mm, it's another rule, but it's about this, just the sense of urgency in creating that. And so anytime you create a sense of urgency or you get people to move quicker, you can sell them anything, right? But I like what you said about the ownership part. The owners are here, the self-esteem people are here, the poor mentality is here. We were talking earlier about the ownership mindset and why the World Economic Forum was saying, and it's everywhere. The slogan is
Yeah.
everywhere. You own nothing and be happy. Why do you want
Yes.
to choose happiness over ownership? When everyone that is here is owning, the people who are here are dealing with emotions, self esteem, being unhappy, feeling unworthy. Why would you want to swap ownership for happiness?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
That's I think you're seduced into that. That's the whole
Hmm.
point. All marketers know this plan. They know who they're selling to. They know that down here in the poverty thing, you can sell maybe, I'm going to go digital online, the $27 to $27 to $50 to $100 product. And all of them have to be on sale. And
Hmm.
then this group of people, they're pitched webinars because when you're pitched as a webinar to sell, they can poke your wanting to belong button. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do that. And then over here, it's a completely different pitch. The pitch has to say, this is how this is going to improve your quality of life. If it doesn't, they're out. So they first hit that button that you want. They know the trigger in the background. But I want to be as transparent as possible with you.
Hmm.
When I started, I was in the poverty mentality to the B level. I wanted to belong. I wanted to be seen as cool. I wanted to be respected, important,
Yes.
belonging to, and fitting in and being trendy. And I spent a lot of money and a lot of time here. This is your biggest leak, is that B bill.
Hmm.
This is where you have enough money where you'll charge it on your credit card stupidly without thinking. And when you
Right.
do that, you are trying to satisfy a need because it feels so good to slap that money down because you
Hmm.
don't see the game they're playing. If you saw the game they're playing, you'd probably step back and go, you know what? I'd rather keep my margin.
Yes.
I'd rather not use that debt if you have that. So the first thing I did was I had to admit where I was
Hmm.
and how I learned it because most of this is simply learned behavior. It wasn't who I was. I
Yes.
just learned from that penny pinching family
Agreed.
that is, that's the lineage and that worked back then. You had to be a penny pincher back then.
Hmm.
And saving was important because women weren't allowed to have wealth back then. So the thing I got was, get things on sale, and we call it being smart with our money. We
Right.
feel so good down here that we're trapped because we think we're being smart with our money. But so do these people, and so do these people.
Hmm.
So what happens is the thing that gets stirred is your desire to level up, to move up in the world, to give your lineage, your offspring, a better life
Hmm.
over and over again. But that better life only comes from better thinking.
Yes.
And I had to be honest with myself. And this is where everybody gets trapped. Nobody wants to admit that they're a B bill being suckered all the time because of their desire and lack of self esteem. Now, here's the difference there's self esteem and self love.
Hmm.
Self esteem has to be ordained by somebody. You did this good. They pat you on the back of every sale and say something like, you made a good decision. So, the first key to absolutely getting out of this system, A, is to know the hidden rules. Here's the hidden
Hmm.
rules that they aren't teaching you.
Right.
The second thing is to be able to admit that you may have learned money skills that weren't healthy for you. So maybe you had parents that wanted to fit in
Hmm.
and they always had the trendiest toys with the trendiest clothing, with the trendiest lifestyle, with the trendiest everything you wanted to give your kids because you didn't get it down here.
Hmm.
And that to them is wealth. It's convenient wealth. So it's like, when I grew up, we didn't go out to dinner very often at all.
Right.
And as I grew up, one of the things that really made me feel wealthy is that I could go out to dinner and I could go out to lunch whenever I want. But as I started creating more wealth and more influence and more everything
Hmm.
else, I realized I could pay for this whole table. And in my mind, I was like, I could pay for this table of 3. Now I can pay for this table of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can pay for this table of 10. Now I can pay for this table of 18. And I prided myself on the ability to just slap the thing down and cover the cost. I still
Mm-hmm.
have that. When my family goes out, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, here it is, just cover the table. And there's something that gives me a lot of good feelings about that. But I don't see where the money's leaking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're so into the good feeling, you don't see where your money's leaking. And you also don't see that you get this self-esteem hit, like, I
Yes.
can pay for this table. I can do this, so I can. And self-esteem keeps you stuck because
Yes.
everybody at the table is going to say, thank you for that. That's really nice. Thank you. And you get
It's the
all that.
same kind of dopamine hit you get on social media too.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And you have to admit where you're operating from before you can change your wealth mindset. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens when you're aware of who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. And why is your self esteem so low that you're continuing with these habits?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I realize is if I bought gold, silver, or Bitcoin, or land, or housing with all this money, you can see how much more wealth you would have developed over a piece of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
But you can't show that.
that's
People
right.
don't know how much Bitcoin I have. They definitely don't know how much gold and silver I have unless I literally show them and
Mm-hmm.
tell them.
Mm-hmm.
But they can see the vehicles, they can see the homes, they can
Yep.
see the clothes, they can see what kind of school your kid attends, and all of that. I mean, even going back to the digital assets, the 155,000,
Yeah.
you're showing that, and again, you're posting that, you're giving that information away. They can do whatever they want to with it.
Yeah.
Now they can use it to advertise. They can use it in different ways that we don't even know about.
And that's so important with number 3, what you just said. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, you're fine.
That's so important because we think it's convenient. It's so easy to go on social media and send my mom the pictures of the birthday party that she missed.
Hmm. Or the birthday party that she paid for,
Yes, that's right.
so her
So,
friends can see.
mhm,
Thanks, mom, for the birthday party. It really meant a lot. They love the clown. They love the
mhm,
juggler. The caterer was amazing. I don't think that, what do you call those? The balloon arches and the backdrops. I don't think that they made such. It's not even a comeback, but I don't think that they've made such a demand, had such a demand as they've had since social media.
yes,
Everybody wants to post baby showers, baby parties. Like,
yeah,
who is giving their child a birthday party at 3 and 4 and 5?
yeah, yeah,
Maybe the first one, 16, but
yeah. You
every
get
year
to
it has to get bigger and bigger.
You're being sold that. It's
Yeah.
how you belong, and social media accentuates that so much. But you don't see where your margin's going. So, what do I mean by margin? Well, let's just take for the B bill people or the C bill people here. If we take a look at their margin and how they're growing it, what they're really doing is dispersing it. You're
Yes.
renting it. You're watching it being vacuumed away by wanting to belong to things. And I want to talk about those, baby shower parties that it's the sex of the baby party where they're a gender
The gender
reveal.
gender reveal. Hmm.
Yeah, and so what happens is you're spending all this money on the gender reveal where in my lifetime you didn't know until the baby was born. And then you didn't know until they did a oh what is
Ultrasound.
yeah, ultrasound. I had colonoscopy in my head and I was like, no, it's not that. But so they did the ultrasound and then they knew the sex and they, do you want to know? And now they have this big deal where it's this big party and etc. So there's a feeling you get when you're capable of participating that
Hmm.
gets people stuck in the B bill. And it's this when your gal pals and you go out for some shopping therapy. I live my life right now very incognito. I don't want nobody to know nothing about nothing about nothing. I'm trying to share with you the rules. I'm trying to show you where you get stuck in the wealth pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you understand where you get stuck in the wealth pattern, that's the first step of learning to steward your own money and learning where they sell you things because they know what your mindset is.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's like Black Friday sales are to vacuum money from here. And in this, every gadget, this
Mm-hmm.
group of people, they love them some QVC. They love that home shopping network. There are some people that have stuff in boxes they have never used, ever, unboxed. And
Mm-hmm.
it's all from QVC, but they got the thing that was so charming. And it's also how the online coaches make money. They go in and they're like, you could have this dream business that's making you seven figures of blah, blah, blah. It's not really the situation. And the other thing is, I'm not saying cut back. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying notice where you are. Can you admit to yourself where you've been living on these rungs? Because what happens is, as you change your mind, your wealth changes with it. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a different person stewarding where their money goes and why. So, the thing that is fascinating for number three, and then I want to go to another hidden rule,
Mm-hmm.
is that convenience is a trap. It is
Yes.
such a trap that most people feel so sedated because they feel so
Mm-hmm.
good that they can. They feel so good. And what we think is wealth is I have money and I can do what I want, when I want, how I want, where I want, with
Mm-hmm.
whomever I want. And what happens when you have that mindset is eventually you'll be broke. Just end of
Yes.
it because they can manipulate you, seduce you. It's like, do you have a bottle of Cristal? Are you buying bottle service? Do you have the right shoes, the right car, the right everything? And you're watching them fleece your money right in front of you, but you feel so good that you're sedated by
And
feeling a sense of belonging.
the major thing that a lot of people, and I hope our listeners understand that I really want to share, is that when you're doing that, been there, done it, it's because you don't see the money leaving your bank account. It's
Hmm.
leaving an impression on your credit card, but you don't see right away.
Hmm.
You don't see that till you get the statement. But at the time, you're like, I mean, you're spending money that you don't have
Yeah.
to participate in events that you wouldn't have if you had to pay cash.
Yeah.
And one of the next rule, you've already touched on this some, is number 8, the fear of the fear loop economy. Fear is not just an emotion; it's an industry.
That's right. Fear is a $1 trillion industry. And fear gets people to vacuum their money away so quickly. And they make you sound very intelligent by investing in the fear loop. And
Mm.
I want to talk about that too, because the fear loop is how a lot of financial stuff is sold. I
Yes.
mean, don't you wanna prepare for your future? If you don't prepare for your future, if you don't have that IRA, if you don't have that 401k, if you don't
Mhm.
have this thing, your future isn't gonna look good. You have to have life insurance because in life insurance, do you want your family to suffer after you die? And some of it's necessary and logical, but the thing is that fear loop is why we do something. No, I don't want my kids to suffer. I don't want my
Right.
wife or husband to suffer. I gotta get this, insurance. And then they sell you a product. Most
Mhm.
insurance
Mhm.
people sell you a product with a form of savings in it. And they're like, some of the money, we're going to take this much from insurance. Some of the money is going to go into savings, and some of the money is going into this life insurance. And it's called whole life insurance. But
Mhm.
what happens is when you need access to the money that's saved in the policy, you will have to, if an emergency came up, and you had to do something really fast, whatever it was, and you needed access to that cash that you saved, there's dues and penalties, and you
Yeah.
have to pay back the insurance policy the money that is yours plus the interest that is there. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I know that people are like IRAs, 401ks. Do you know there's such a huge percentage of people who have to access their 401k or their retirement thing
Hmm.
to cover an emergency because they don't have their margin is being spent on frivolousness, and or they don't have margin. So
Right.
what happens is then they have to pay penalties and dues and taxes and everything else
Hmm.
on this, and they lose about a third of that savings. And that doesn't make any sense. Like, these tools are all permission based. If you give your money to an advisor, it doesn't mean that they know what they to do with your money. They're probably working for one of the big companies,
Hmm.
and what it means is they sold you a product. They get a commission from that,
Yes.
maybe year over year over year, but it doesn't mean they know what to do with your money. They know the sales tactics that, these big companies like Vanguard and all the
Hmm.
other Fidelity,
Fidelity.
whatever it
Hmm.
is, any one of these people, they only make money with your money. If
Hmm.
they don't have your money, they don't make any money. It
But
doesn't mean that they've ever made money in the market. They're just selling products to you. What were you going to say?
and what they sell you isn't the product. They're selling you the fear of not
Mhm.
having the product.
That's
I'm
right.
bringing this to you. You don't care about your family if you don't do it. I was online with the gentleman. I was checking because only a few of my children are on social media that share for different things that they're doing. And every once in a while, I'll go on there. I go on like Instagram and I just scroll just to make sure that I'm going through their page. And this gentleman have posted, this is all the rage right now, apparently. You can get water rights. You can own an ETF stock and have investment in water. And once that stock blows up, so it got my curiosity going and my fingers moving. I said, well, why wouldn't you want to just own the land with the water rights? So he chimes back, well, who has money laying around for land? I'm just saying, he, if you want me to put $10,000 to $20,000 worth of my money into an ETF for water, why wouldn't I just spend $10,000 to $20,000 on land so that I can have access to my own water? That way, if there's a shortage, I can sell my water. Another company can rent my water. If a data center comes by, I can plant food on my land. I have a workable asset. Why are you telling me to purchase an ETF for $20,000 to $30,000 and hold it and watch it? It's going to blow up because if you invest in this company and do your due diligence on this company and then find out what the holding companies are. And by the time, listen, I could just research water. Why am I doing that? Why am I giving someone my money? And if the market takes a downward turn, I'm screwed. I'm out of all my money. I can't get it back. And I worked hard for it. And I own nothing. I own nothing.
Yes, the way I see um, most market wealth, this is just me. I see the market wealth as access. It's like people who sell you a mutual fund. They'll
Hmm.
say, well, here's your mutual fund. And we do dollar cost averaging. And we put $150 in, then we put 150 every month. We just dollar cost average. And over a period of time, it's supposed to go up over the years, like 20 years, 30 years, you'll see a
Hmm.
rise in that. And the thing is, um, if something goes awry, like, I don't know, let's take Kellogg's right now. I'm watching Kellogg's because I want to see what they're going to do. The cereal company. But
Right.
right now, these farmers can't put the grains out in the field because we have this Strait of Hormuz incident. And
Yes.
I'm looking at the future and I'm saying, okay, Are they going to be able to get the grains they need, the corn, the rice, the wheat, in order to make their cereals? And if so, can their factory run to make the cereals with gas rationing? Are they going to be able to do half production or full production or no
Right.
production at all? We don't know
Mhm.
yet. We don't know what's happening. And what is that going to do to the future? So let's just say everything blows up and Kellogg's goes belly up and
Mhm.
you own that Kellogg stock. Well, if you have that common stock, you're the last person to get paid over these people, these people, these people, these people, these people. And you're at the bottom. It's like and it's same with the ETF. And the ETF is an interesting thing. I want to share an example. I'm not naming any companies, people. I'm
Mhm.
just going to tell you the thing about the contract is so important. So, gold ETFs. There is a client that I worked with who put $10,000 into a gold ETF so they could buy their gold, so they had access to this gold. But later in the contract, it said if you wanted to access and pull your gold out, you have to have at least an investment of $100,000 in there before you can pull your 10,000 or whatever out
Mhm.
that you want. But you had to have over $100,000 invested before that. So what happened was they couldn't retrieve the gold they thought they owned, the gold they thought they bought because they had an ETF. And I know a lot of people like these ETFs,
Mhm.
and they're selling Bitcoin ETFs and other. I'm like, if you don't own the actual asset and you're buying those ETFs and those paper wealth, that's
Right.
what we call tertiary wealth, because it is tertiary wealth. There's primary wealth, secondary wealth, and tertiary wealth. So pay
Yes.
attention to this, because this is a key about investing in assets. She talked about primary wealth in just a minute. She talked about the ETF the guy was trying to sell her, and he said, "Why wouldn't I just buy the land and the water rights myself? Why would I buy the ETF?" And he's like, "Who has money for land and water rights? Who has money?"
Mhm.
Well, if you don't have money there, it's more important for you to figure out how you can get the money to own versus the money to invest.
Yes.
And we think somehow money to invest means that I'm actually going to make money, where we have seen so many people, millions of people, not prosper from market wealth.
Mhm.
We see of them not from because the market is shaky. It is right now. I know it's going to
Right.
fall down,
Yeah.
but the market itself has contracts. And the contracts are never, ever, ever written with your best interest in mind.
Mhm.
Never. Ownership is always your best interest in mind. And you have to understand what you're buying and why. So, in any ETF situation, that is, and I want you to read the rule again. It's like you have to know the difference between an asset and a non asset.
Mhm.
And so wealthy people don't buy market things. They just don't. If you look at them, they buy businesses, they buy apartment buildings, they buy warehouses, they buy those places that store things, and they look boring, but it keeps them stable. While your ETF, you don't know what that contract is there for. And the question is, here's the thing. This means saving. All of their telling you it's good to save. And
Mhm.
I'm going to call that out and say, this is a lie they sold us. They
Yes.
sold us savings and time. But if you have cash flows more than one, then savings doesn't matter. You have cash flows that will continue. And what happens is cash flows are stewardship, it's ownership. This
Mhm.
is a little bit more, this is a little more work. This is convenience. And
Mhm.
in there, if they sell you the convenience, they're also selling you risk.
Yes.
They're selling you risk. And the thing is the risk worth the convenience? We never look at that. We just say to ourselves, "Oh, this feels good. I feel smart." They
Mhm.
said I was smart. I belong and I fit in now. I and how many people I know this happened to me. I'm so embarrassed and ashamed to say this to everybody, but I just remember sitting down, after work with all the people who were in that group of people who were trying to level up. And I'd be like, well, my advisor says, and, we're talking about the markets and things like, we're in the
Right.
best place and we know the best rules and we have the best way. And suddenly it's all about your ego getting rubbed. And I was like, oh my God, I lived a big portion of my life wanting to fit
Mhm.
in and belong because that I felt respected. So
That's
what happens is a bunch of stupid people get together and they rub each other's ego in such a way and they don't see how they're being fleeced.
yeah, that's hidden rule number 45. A promise is not an asset. And we were talking about retirement, the mirage of future freedom.
Mhm.
It's not the actual freedom that you're planning for.
Yeah,
And
say
you're
more about
so
that for me.
yeah.
Say more about that.
You're so that if you first of all, in my case, I was the type of person when they sat down and told me retire, 65, you'll be great. You can live your life. I said 65. No, like I'll be too old, or older to be able to really enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
So I was all about fire, and so financial independence, retire early. So I was like, I got to really, really get with my wealth manager and discuss my options here or our options. And so we really want to be retirement early. I like options. And so front loaded, front loaded, front loaded. Make sure that you invest, get in the market, get in the market. And so the retirement mirage is that I thought that I was really going to be able to retire with a lifestyle at a certain number because they always want you to get your number. And then the brain switched, right? And it was like, what if the market took a turn? And if I want my money, I can't get my money. Now this is money that I'm trying to retire early on. What the market takes a downturn? Oh my goodness, I could be setting myself up for failure. I own nothing. I don't control it. It's market based, so it depends on the market on how well I'm doing, and that's my plan. That's my strategy for being able to live. I mean, we do have properties. I'm fully transparent. We have other things that are going to make us money too, but that was
Mhm.
like the goal. I want to retire
Yeah.
early. I have the things that are going to make us extra income, but that can go to the kids. I'm going to be set.
Mm.
It was so false. I can't get my money out. Well, I couldn't. So then I had to take out I mean, I had to do some things. That's a whole nother conversation. But I realized that the dream of retirement that they sold me wasn't the dream that I thought I was purchasing. I thought I was purchasing certainty. Even a little bit of convenience because I didn't know everything about it. I'll let them deal with it. I'll let them manage it. I'll pay them some money. They'll figure it out. I just have to
Yeah.
sit back and add to it. That kind of thing now would make my blood boil.
Yeah,
Who's in
may I
control of
share
my money?
something? May I
Yeah,
share something with
yeah.
you? There was a rocker back in the 70s. He's still alive, Uncle Ted Nugent. And I love Ted Nugent because he's just wild and his music was really good. But in the 70s, he was wicked popular. He did great shows and he made tons of money and he got a wealth manager. And one day after, back in California, back in the day, when they had concerts, they'd have them at football stadiums where there would be, 70,000 people in the audience. And so Uncle Ted got off playing this big stadium and this big show. And his manager brought him off stage. Now he's sweating. He's just did this show.
Mhm.
And his manager says to him, "You're broke." And he's like, "No, I'm not. I have millions. I have money managers and everything else." And he's like,
Right.
"No, honey." So he was talking about how he's flying commercial jets to go to his place because he wants to make, his ball of money last forever. And he said his money managers were idiots and they had him invested in things that were just bull crap. And he had to rebuild his wealth
Oh my God.
because he was financially broke. These guys were flying first class while he was flying coach. And they're like, here's my private jet, here's my thing, and was all managing his money. And they didn't care. They ran his money out till nothing. They had him invested in sheep farms that were supposed to do, and all these
Mm,
no. So he was like, that's it. I am managing my own money. I am taking control of my own money. And what they teach us
oh my
is
God.
don't take control of your money. You don't know how. You don't know what you're doing.
Mhm,
You're not going to have anything. If you go with us, we're going to make sure you have this, blah, blah, blah. They cannot make sure of crap. And that's why they have to say, that future profits are not indicative of what was happening in the past. They
mhm.
can't guarantee you a future of money. They can't guarantee you. But if you look at all the billionaires right now, what are they buying? They're buying land and
Land,
water rights.
water.
They're buying primary assets. They aren't going, "Oh, let's buy a maybe. Let's sell a maybe." And
Nobody
so
wants a
again,
maybe.
when we look at these hidden wealth rules, what I want you to know is, as far as I can know, as far as I can share with you when I get on this show, is the first thing you have to do is look at you. Are you a sales thinker? Are you a
Mhm,
save time thinker? Are you a quality of life thinker? Because what they sell you, if you're down here or here, when you invest in an IRA or a mutual fund or whatever, what are they selling you? They're
mhm.
selling you the future. They're not selling you the now. What they're saying is, let me have your money. We'll invest it in these companies. And they give you a little test to see if you're a conservative investor, a medium,
Mhm.
a risk vest, or,
Right.
we'll take a lot of risk. And each one of these things has fees and hidden dues and taxes, and they make money every single year on whatever it is,
Yes.
but there is no guarantee. So when you buy land, it can burn, but it regrows. If you have water, you have water in the ground. And I'm talking, even if you get a piece of land and you drill a 300-foot,
Mhm,
200-foot well on it, you
mhm.
have water. You own water. You own something that's tangible. So the thing is, you want to be able to look at how they're selling to you,
Yes.
because their job is to close the deal, whether it's an insurance policy, whether it's a mortgage or a loan on
Mhm.
investments. They don't they don't make money unless you let go of your own power,
Yes.
and you have to be clear about what you're buying. So even with gold, you can buy a gold ETF or you can buy gold. I buy the gold, but here's the
Right.
thing, I don't buy gold unless it's numismatic gold.
Mhm.
I don't hold gold bullion. Why? Because it's confiscatable. And you're like, oh, well, now you're dreaming, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I want to let you know something. The United States has $39 trillion in debt. Now,
Yes.
when you and I grew up, it was the streets are paved with gold
Mhm,
until 1971, when we were taken off the gold standard. Now the streets are paved with debt.
mhm.
It's not paved with gold in the United States. We're paved with debt. And we're paved with being the reserve currency for however long that happens, because the world wants to de-dollarize.
Yes.
So, how do you protect your wealth? Well, sometimes, what is it? Jim Richards says the farmers are going to be the millionaires.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at it right now going, okay, I see that. But I also see we are lacking energy, and
Right.
farms are going belly up so fast. You do not know how our food system. There was Stephen Bartlett, who I really enjoy, had a risk analyst that risks the world. And he said, he gave the data and the proof. He said, we have enough food to feed 2 billion people, and there's 8 billion people.
That's
And I
scary.
was, that's 6 billion people. You have to figure out that food thing right now. So if you look at that, the inflation is eating up your margin. The cost of food is eating up your margin. And the fear loop
Mm-hmm.
and the scary part of this is eating up your margin. Why? Because what people are looking for, whether you're here, here, or here, whether you're poverty, you're B or an A bill
Mm-hmm.
buyer,
Right.
whatever that is, people want relief and
Mm-hmm.
they want certainty. And there isn't any right now. And there are countries who are already out of, they have a week's more of oil. There are already countries that are
Yes.
have famine because they don't have any oil and gas, can't get to
Yes.
them. They have no electricity going on. It's that here we are with American privilege, and we are literally the last people who are going to feel it. They're already feeling up here. It's already happening. And if you look at what you own, it's like you can't eat the paper. I mean, you can, but it won't taste good. You're looking at the type of wealth that is everlasting and not short
Yes.
term and doesn't have volatility. So as we go through the hidden rules, the object for you when you read the book, The Hidden Rules,
Mm-hmm.
is to get underneath and find the secrets that have been keeping us stuck and permission based.
Yes.
You earn this money, you blood, sweat, and tears, you work hard for the money, you get that money, and
Mm-hmm.
then you give it over to something over here that you have to ask permission. And permission-based living is seems normal now. It
Yes.
seems so normal to have permission-based living. But you know what? Our forefathers, they fought not so we could have permission-based living, but that we could have sovereign wealth and freedom. And that is what's missing, the template of you'll own nothing and be happy about it. You'll own nothing. That's the thing. If you want wealth, if you
Mm-hmm.
want long term stability, you need ownership.
Ownership.
And
Yeah.
you need ownership in primary asset, not tertiary paper. And there's
Mm-hmm.
a vast difference between the two. And the reason that, it's like, there are correlated assets and non-correlated assets. And correlated assets are everything that belongs to this system over here, meaning like when you buy your home in an HOA neighborhood, if the economy is doing well, then your equity rises. It goes up, 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 up. And if the economy doesn't do well, then your equity in your home is down, 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 down. So what happens is you're going with whatever the market doing. This is correlation. If
Mm-hmm.
the economic wave is up, you're up. If the economic wave is down, you're down. That's market wealth. Market wealth is just like that. If the
Yes.
market's up, then you're rich. If it's down, you're broke. If it's up, you're rich. It's down, you're broke. Then there is non-correlated assets. So the non-correlated asset doesn't give a crap about what the economy is doing. So the person who owns the energy infrastructure, I don't know what your energy bill company is, but the person who owns the energy company doesn't give a crap about what's happening over here. The grocery store owner knows that you're always going to be in there to buy
Yes.
groceries.
One hundred
So
percent.
it's not it if the economy goes up or down, the only thing that happens in the grocery store is maybe a little less inventory, maybe a little more inventory. But the thing is, whether he advertises or not, whether he gives you anything, you're going over there to buy. So
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, the coupons that come out that are grocery coupons, they
Mm-hmm.
come out for C-bill buyers. But the C-bill buyer isn't going to go to that grocery store unless you give them the coupon. Then the convenience of the B-bill buyer, we're going to have, this fast, convenient way of the food is already prepared. It's already, all you have to do is pick the things up and put the sandwich together. Voila. And that convenience over here, here's the creams and here's the things that are going to make your skin better. And here's the illicit wine. Every person knows what these bill think, and every person knows what these people are thinking. And
Yes.
so the advertising over here is stable. They don't care if the market's going up or down. they're going to sell you what they're going to sell you. And so that's the whole point of wealth. If you're over here playing this correlated game, then you're like, well, will I be able to retire early where the market crash and now I have to work 10 more years to get to retire? What are we doing here? And over here, you're building your wealth stack in a way that's going to support you, and it's under your power. So if I chose to sell a piece of gold, I'll sell the piece of gold. There's no intermediary in there saying, well, there's a penalty if you sell this piece of gold right now. So that is the future of stabilizing yourself with wealth. And we have all this digital stuff. We haven't even scratched the surface about ownership. But what I want to say is ownership investing requires a little more work.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is not wealth, it's luck. And
Mm-hmm.
as AI comes around, you need to pivot somewhere in order to make that different. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what I want to share about that part of it.
And for the people who are saying, you know, feeling guilt or shame, feeling
Mm-hmm.
I'm smart, this shouldn't happen to me, I know better, and you're in this situation right now, there's still time, right? Like we still have time. That's why we're having this conversation. It's for us to have a better understanding. I know I read a lot of books. I mean, thank goodness for real authors like Vickie. This is what, 39th book?
48th.
48, 48. I think I was reading your 39th book. That's what came to mind. But the authors who don't mind sharing and being transparent, that will tell you the truth no matter what. Because we've read a lot of books, we read a lot of self-help books. That didn't help us with our self-esteem. That helped us to try to become more richer in how to adapt to society, but it didn't teach us the self-love that we need instead of self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the convenience, we've got to really step it up. We've got to say that even though we are wanting life to be a little bit easier because we're busier, we've got to own our time and say, will this be a good fit? Even with social media, like we're talking about the 155K, what are we giving up? What are we giving away? What are we just handing over without really even thinking about it? Those are the
Mm-hmm.
kind of conversations that are going to that you're going to have with yourself when you read the book Hidden Rules. You're really
Mm-hmm.
going to be able to evaluate. There's some questions in there that are saying, how do I get from about the situation? Look at this in your life. Apply this to your life. Examine this. Share this. Grow as a community. Because, iron sharpens iron. We're only as good as the people that we hang around with. And as
Yeah.
my circle is pivoting and I'm starting to see some things, even though I'm trying to help educate, I can't stay there. Even though I'm sharing, I can't just say, you know what, I'm still going to be around that mindset. As I'm growing and shifting, I've got to pivot.
Yeah.
I've got to move. And when you read the book, The Hidden Rules, it's going to help you to understand that and really apply it to your life and grow.
It's so important what you just said, because in the primary asset piece, let's go to early America. I'm thinking not early America, I'd say 1930s, 1940s. That premise of what you were leaving the next generation was already set. And usually, what you left a generation was a fully functioning business. And really, this is
Mhm.
probably about the 1700s forward, a fully functioning business with paid off. It was already owned by the family, and
Mhm.
ownership was the inheritance you would receive. So in the 1700s, they would, say, here's our land. We'd pick the land, but your job was to improve the land and pay it off so that the next generation would have it. And every single farm in the 1700s was a patch of land that had all kinds of food growing on it, where we have like, hi, I have 1,000 acres of corn and we just grow corn. Back then, they had this food forest that they would do, and they would have this business on it. And this food forest is mature and it was grown. Then the business was whatever you could be, a barber or a butcher or, any business that was there.
The
And
trade that you were good at.
yes,
Your
that was
skill
the
set.
business. That's where you apprenticed as well. You learn from the family business, and got to learn from your parents, etc. The only commonality they had back then was from George Washington, and he said every farmer had to grow hemp, because back then it was used for everything, rope, and there was, every farm had to grow a certain amount of acres of hemp, and then everything else is there. But what happened was, when you inherited ownership of the family inheritance, you had something that was already paid off, that already had clients, that already had a reputation, that already had a community, alliances, so that when you were taking it over, you were like, oh, you're John Smith's son. Hi, yeah, that's great. And so, what happened is, we ended up having universities here and people going off to university, and then jobs. And that was the passing on of that wealth. So a lot of the family farms and family businesses got sold, and there's still some, like Vermont. I was there years ago, and there was a farm that had 5 generations already on it. And they had, maple syrup and cheese and all the other things that you make back then. And we were taught to go to the store to go get cheese. But back then, there were no stores. There weren't really mercantiles and things like that till the 40s, the late 39, somewhere around there. You knew where all your food was, where it was all based, who was producing what. And you were either a good community member or you weren't, and that determined access. And so right now, we think money can buy us everything, because it can, where the actual ownership of everything that got handed to you was handed down and improved on every generation. So, grandpa handed it to dad, who handed it to you, and you handed it to your son. Everything was improved on over time. So the asset grew in value over and over and over. And unfortunately, there were so many people who sold off the family farm because they were seduced by big city life or whatever that was. And that was
That's
kind of, that was sad.
I have a different perspective. Of course, I'm
Hmm.
African American,
Hmm.
so 1700s, 1800s, we weren't getting anything to build
That's
on.
right. You're right. You're right. In fact, you were the builders.
Yes,
You're the asset builders, and really why we're really rich in this country. Not gonna lie, I agree with that. And
yeah,
I'm
our
sorry that everybody in that era went through that. That's hard.
yeah. So
So
my
may I ask you then? I'm going to ask you this. I want to know, how did people build wealth then after that? Do you have any history of, you know, what happened in your family or somebody or
I do. So I know that my grandparents were born in 1897 and 1903. My grandmother, she went to college, which was um, because Fayetteville State University is now what it is now, was a women's college at the time. And my grandfather was a preacher.
neat.
So he was born in 1897, but also my demographic is different. So my grandmother was African American, but I also have Asian ancestry. So I'm going to focus on the African American part. With her, she was able to have people who her parents worked for. Not everybody was bad. Not everybody
Mhm.
had a bad experience. I know a lot of
Yeah,
people have, and I don't want to take that away from anybody or anything. We're just talking about what happened,
to
my
you.
personal experience.
Yeah.
And so what they did was they were able to give them something, and they used it to send her to college. And she went to college and she became an educator. She was a teacher. And so she
Cool.
started teaching them. But they had a house on their house, I mean on their land. They had all kind of fruit trees. They had a well. Every summer I would have to go, I would have to, snap peas when we came from up north. And my fingernails would be green and hurt and I'd be crying, and it's hot down there and but the crab apples were delicious. The water was fresh. I remember that. But my parents, when they were growing up, they still picked cotton. They were born in the 40s. They still
Wow.
picked tobacco
Wow.
in the 40s, in the late 40s, as a matter of fact. And something interesting is that they were picking cotton, picking tobacco, everything else. And when they started to desegregate schools, they didn't want desegregation. They actually wanted it to stay the same because they were learning so much. And they felt like when they went to other school, they're going to be withholding information, right? So there's
Interesting.
a big divide there. But they really did keep going. Like my generation didn't know anything about it. I was like, oh my God, you were out there in the field. Like my parents, which was very interesting as you're growing up and you're hearing these stories, it wasn't too far. In the 60s was the civil rights movement. And you think about the 60s, that was the time that they were living and they were the ones who were really active. And I was like, wow, it wasn't that long ago that if my parents were in it and doing it, that, a lot of things were happening. But were they owning a lot of businesses? No. Were they handing down land and companies and is this John's son? No, that didn't happen. What did happen that I know of that I can speak to was they did share when they knew
Mhm.
that they wanted to give them a head start.
Yeah.
She probably wouldn't have been able to go to college. A lot of people didn't. Just to be fair, a lot of people didn't. She was one of the ones that was able to and did well, being able to do that. But that wasn't the situation at all.
Gosh, this is so interesting to hear from you because I know if you're starting in a very poverty area, like my whole family, my birth parents are from Puerto Rico. And my grandmother had like 13 brothers and sisters. They were all, big family. And what they did was they wanted to get to the mainland. And
Hmm.
what it took was, and some of it isn't pleasant, like the couple of the daughters of the 13 were sold to Americans as service people when they were 6 years old or 3 years old. They were sweeping and they were growing up in a house where they were made to be the servant in the house.
Hmm.
But some of them came over one by one and they did the same thing that you were talking about. They helped each other get over, get over, get over. And then, they helped each other build the business, etc. So my grandmother only had a grade education. She couldn't speak English or anything else. And she taught herself by just taking the newspaper and reading it every morning, just getting that kind of education. But opportunities back then were not right now. We have a plethora of wealth
Hmm.
making opportunities.
Yes.
We have so many choices, so many conveniences that we're literally a sedated society. And part of that American privilege is the feeling of sedation that we think is, I don't have to worry about that. Somebody else is going to do it. We're okay. The government's going to take care of us. And, I don't have to learn to cook if I don't want to. I don't have to learn all these basic skills that, I
Hmm.
learned from my grandmother and my mother. And that there is a level of instant manifestation now. And I wonder because spiritually, people are like, well, you should just be able to manifest it in your life. Well, we have that now. We
Hmm.
don't have to cook. Somebody will deliver a pizza, somebody will deliver
Yes.
Chinese, whatever we want. We can go to a restaurant when we're hungry. We think that these old skills are no longer important. And we think that we can live in modern society with modern conveniences
Hmm.
100% of the time. Like in America, you can drink the tap water out of the tab. It's clean enough to do that, where in other
Yeah.
countries it isn't. And
Mm-mm.
we have bottled water at our access. So we keep drinking the bottled water and we're polluting with all the plastic. But it's convenient to have bottled water. You have, I want it and I want it now. What do you want? I want a soda. I want a car. I want a food. I
Hmm.
want a new clothes. I want to. Somehow that instant manifestation helps us feel safe. And we're not in the fear loop. In the fear loop, you're like, how am I going to afford to? Or
Hmm.
in the fear loop right now. So we take a look at, I don't know how this energy crisis is going to hit us. And I don't know how we're going to move forward in life with um, less choices or slower choices or
Hmm.
half the choices, because we're going to see some of the lines of trade slow down. Because, face it, the rest of the world is really mad at the United States. And they actually want to see us fall. I mean, the rest of the world
Hmm.
they would see that as, you got your comeuppance. You
Right.
messed with us, you got our comeuppance, and you
Hmm.
deserve to have this kind of pain. And now you know what we feel like.
Right.
That would be that same thing. But I think in America, what's beautiful about this country is that it is the country of invention and ingenuity. And if we fell, which may very well happen,
Hmm.
we would stand up really fast.
Yes.
There would be the only reason we don't have that right now is because they've got us separated into political parties.
Hmm.
But when ingenuity happens, it's like, oh, we have no this. We got engineers, or men and women going, okay, we can do this by do this, and they work fast for that. So
The
whatever happens, I don't know how long it would take to recover from $39 trillion, but I don't think it would happen in my lifetime. I don't know.
hmm
But I think what's important is the more you know about the hidden rules, and we only went through 3 of these hidden rules, the more you know about them, what you're developing, I hope, the gift that we want to share with the world is discernment. Now, we're not saying don't invest in the market. We're not anti-market. Well, I am. I don't. But what I'm saying is understand the market more.
hmm
If you have money coming in, to me, it's more important that you figure out where that money is going to cash flow from than it is to save it and then ask for permission if you need
permission
it.
for it.
And or wait 20, 30 years before this is grown enough for you to do something, when there are faster ways to make money. There are safer ways to protect yourself from volatility and uncertainty. And that's really what we're wanting to explain to you is, in these hidden rules, they wanted you to forget that you can steward your own wealth, that you
Mhm.
can learn. Now, I know there are egotistical men out there who are like, no, I'm going to invest in this because it's you have to really understand wealth in a way that helps you design your wealth plan. You
Yes.
don't want to go into some egotistical, no, I know this is going to work, because how do you know it's going to work? Well, because I know it's going to work. And so you part with your money. The second you part with your money and you don't have anything but a promise, you
Hmm.
have risk. When you part with your money, the question you should be asking yourself is, what do I own?
Hmm.
And who benefits from my investment? And Who's in charge of that investment? Those three things are going to help you make better choices about wealth. Did
And
you want to see?
yeah,
Go ahead.
just it's really systemic because retirement is the reward for obedience. You did what you're supposed to do. You maxed it out. That means that you worked a job that had benefits. You were a great citizen to society, so it's a reward for obedience. So no, retirement or the market isn't evil. It's not evil, but it's not also helping you to get to sovereignty either. You're really, and I just feel like the more we watch TV, the more on social media, they press us to engage for the likes, for the comments, for the atta girls and atta boys.
Mhm.
It makes you the B group bigger and bigger. It makes the people who are self-esteem hunters want more and more. It's almost like, a drug. And that's why I feel like it's going to be so easy for, universal basic income to be
Just like that.
right in.
Hmm.
We're not even going to care. You know why? We're going to be so convinced that it's going to be
Sedated.
a good thing from us. Yes. That we're not even, discernment is going to go right out the door. We're not even going to second guess it. That friction that's going to come up is only going to be very minimal. It's going to be so dumbed down and quieted that the real noise is, how do I look? That, everybody is voting that way. Will I look like I'm an outlier if I don't vote that way?
Hmm.
I don't want to get into it, but it was the same thing with the vaccine. You had those who got it, those who didn't. And they made such a big deal about it. It's like, it's none of your business.
Yep. Those who are
What?
MAGA and those who weren't.
Yeah. So what if I don't want to share my medical history with you?
Yeah.
Whether I did or not. What if I don't want to tell you? Well, did you do it? Because if you didn't, and then it was what do you call those things? It's like a frame on your picture that said, I
Oh,
got the shot or I got the
yeah.
vaccine. And
The
if you
sticker. I
didn't,
voted today.
yes, yes. It's none of your business. What I
Hmm.
did, how I did it, with my time, with my money. But you want to be included in the group. You want to be the one seen as the one who also did it. And the more we are in this group and the more we're wanting that in this space, the more it's going to grow. And they're just going to be able to usher really anything they want to, because once they create a sense of buy now, you got to get it now. We're going to buy it. They can sell us anything with that sense of urgency because now we're conditioned. And I'm right now, I know it's systematic. I know it's something that they've been training us on. And now everybody is doing it. And that's where we're at now. This is why the book Hidden Rules is here, because they don't want you to know. They don't share it because they know if we knew, they wouldn't have as much control. If everyone rejected the terms of service, they'd have to do something different.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
we're not, because I'd rather have
Yes.
my phone. I can't get that app if I don't just go ahead and accept it. I have to hit okay. And this is how long it takes you to get through the terms of service. Like you're literally scrolling like this, and then finally,
Hmm.
okay, you're signing away what part of your life? You don't even know.
Yeah. Most people don't know. And you said something I thought was really interesting about um, the condition of the state of people's minds. They know where you are by how you write, what you post, what you say. All they gather, the reason propaganda works is because you give them your opinion for free. And what happens is each of these places gets propaganda, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing more than the B bill people, because the B bill people are the people who have discretionary income and they know it. And they can charge you for that propaganda at 30% more because you'll pay it to fit in. And your goal really is to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
All of your margin can be spent on you having poor self esteem and them selling you oh, you deserve this rest. Oh, you should have this comfort because you've worked so hard. You need this vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You should
Yeah.
have these things for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why should you? And what's happening is your money is going out to what you deem as self care, but it's really fleecing your income, which is
Mm-hmm.
what they want to do. That's what advertising does. That's what marketing does. It is to seduce you to take an action you wouldn't take if they
Mm-hmm.
didn't seduce you. And this is where the thing of fleecing your income is absolutely in this self esteem
Yes.
cage.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, once you're in that cage, the most important thing you could do is ask yourself, where am I being seduced that I'm unwilling to admit?
Yes.
Where am I being pitched that I'm so willing to follow and not feel the pain of not fitting in and not purchasing at that moment?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody I know has purchased, like I've known tons of people who have purchased and they're shopaholics. They're literally, look at the trinket I got, look at what I'm buying. So for me, I'm an outdoorsy girl. I like to go swimming. I like to go biking. I like to go hiking. I like to pet my dog. I like to plant my garden. I'm an outdoorsy girl. I
Mm-hmm.
have never been my whole life one of those glamour gals where it's hair and makeup and perfume and towels and this and that and the other. I just don't know. I would rather have a van life than I would have a glam life.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens for me is the mall was invented to reinforce going to purchase. And consumerism is the outcome of the propaganda that's there. And they don't want you to feel good about yourself. They don't. They
Mm-hmm.
want you to pamper yourself, but not actually be in love with yourself in a way that you have the ability to say no as a power, as
Yes.
something inside you that empowers you. No, you're not getting me in this line. No, it's like hook, line, and sinker. They want to do it every day. And every day that they do it, they're reinforcing that connection
Mm-hmm.
between your synapses and the propaganda that's coming in so that you don't understand the power of saying no. Most people don't. No, I don't want that beer. No, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want that dress. No, I actually don't want that vacation. I'd rather do this. And the people who can start saying from this middle piece, I have my own. Like for me, the way I see it is I love to mountain bike. And when
Mm-hmm.
I'm on my bike and I'm feeling powerful and I'm in that, I love this so much. And if somebody was like, "Oh, let's go to the mall and buy dresses," my whole my red flag had come up and go, "Is there something another choice we can do? Is there another choice we can do?" And there are
Right.
people who like to feel really good about pampering themselves
Mm-hmm.
when they can't afford to pamper themselves. So pampering yourself has kind of meant that you're in a club that you really don't need to be in. And so what actually is good health?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think if you have that gym membership and you're really into going to the gym, fine, go into the gym and do that. I hate the gym. I don't go to a gym. I want to go just like my little girl did when she was a little girl. I want to go outside and play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need a country club to play tennis. I don't need the, cute little outfit to play tennis. I'm happy in shorts.
Mm-hmm.
I do need a good bike. But you grow some discernment.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is you start seeing your margin grow again. You start seeing your margin behave differently. Like, I don't go out to restaurants that much anymore. Go ahead.
I like what you said about being able to not get things you don't need, right? Like you don't need a gym membership. You don't need to play tennis. And I grew up in a big family. I have a bigger family now than the norm. And we've been so used to going to park and recreations. Now they have a skate park, they have a BMX, dirt bike, like I mean, they compete on it. State
Mhm.
of the art tennis courts. We're outside. They can go basketball. They can go fishing. They can do anything they want to at the park.
Yeah.
When I want extra seeds, like my library has all kind of trainings on garden. Your public library will get you seeds and train you on how to plant the seeds. Everything from herbs to fruit trees to regular garden, vegetables. But the thing that we want to do is be seen. You can't be
That's right.
seen if no one else is at the park. No one, I don't have my keys with me right now, but you can see on my key ring all the places that I have memberships to if I don't belong. It could be a
Mhm.
conversation starter. I have a water bottle. It's I don't have it in here either, but I don't even like to drink out of it anymore. Like I used to just, have it like I have two phones, but I would have
Yeah.
it, and if it's not visible, I'll turn it around
Yeah.
because it was the conversation starter. There's a hotel in New York called Amman, and they have a great spa. So if you go there and then you get the water bottle, it's like a little status symbol. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was all
Yeah.
about it. And
Yeah.
so if you've
Like your
been,
perk.
then you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. And it's
Right.
like you feel exclusive then. And I'm like, feeling exclusive is, it's like there's this whole set of masks we put on so that we don't show anybody how we really feel about ourselves. And the way out of that is just to admit that some of this self-esteem issue you have, you learned. It's just old school. And
Yes.
it's not who you are, it's just what you learned. So when you learn something else, you don't have to be this anymore. And
Hmm.
what happens is like we want love so much. We want caring so much. We want to feel that connection so much. And somehow we do like when we're little baby kids and we go to the toy box and I have this and I have this and I have this. And now we're adults going, I have this and I have this and I'm powerful and I'm educated and I'm this.
Hmm.
And, we've lost, are you kind? We've lost,
Yes.
that kind of thing. It's like if you want to go out in the gym and lift weights, or I dare you to come up to 81,000 feet and hike up our 14ers so that you're 14,000 feet up. Trust me, you'll have a great workout then. But somehow everything was naturally put in front of us and we
Yes.
learned to be showy. We
Hmm.
learned, it's kind of like the Titanic movie where the rich people had this life and then this life and then
Hmm.
this life, and it said about what you think is quality of life for you. And I just think that some of the quality of life that we enjoy right now may not be as healthy for us as we think, and it's
Hmm.
there to have you lose money, not protect and steward your money.
Yes.
The first way you find the hidden rules is ownership is everything, and you have to steward your wealth.
Yes.
And stewarding your wealth is different than investing. And
Hmm.
investing is not always smart. There are suckers born a million times over here. And once you get the idea of how to steward your wealth, because that's what Grant Cardone does, can you imagine having $1 billion real estate portfolio that you oversee? And you have to oversee all the people who oversee each property
Hmm.
and where it goes and making it a wealth system for someone else. When you're taking a look at that, that's stewardship. That's really a big kind of stewardship. Investing in a 401k that matches you 50%, that's not stewardship. That's permission based, and you have to know the difference. Once you understand these hidden rules, you, and I hope this is what we shared with you today,
Hmm.
is a form of empowerment where you can start looking at things differently and saying to yourself, if you invest in this market thing, you have discernment about doing it. And if you build this thing over here, you have discernment about doing it. But the wealthiest people in the world have stewarded their wealth, not invested their way to riches, not tried to use debt to provide riches.
Hmm.
So, what happens in the future right now is when we talk about these rules, and the book is coming out May 26th. Yes.
Yes. Yes. May 26th.
And it'll be available then. It's my 48th book, but it is, to me, some of the most powerful book, because I just think discernment needs to go back into a thing about how wealth gets away from you and how you can use your wealth differently. And on the next Tuesday, it's 8 a.m.
Mhm.
Mountain time, and it'll be 10 a.m. Eastern
Easter.
time. We'll have the Wealth Rules Hidden podcast, and we'll talk about secrets to more wealth as well. Is there something you want to leave them with before we go?
As I was mentioning earlier, I grew up in a large family. And one of the things that we would do is we would go outside and play.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that also happened when I was younger was I heard a lot of talking because I did have a larger family. Well, you can't do this, you can't do that because you have a large family. And I got to the place where I would say, well, I never had a lack though. And so just the conversations, because they were repeating something that they had heard, made me think that I had a lack, that something was wrong with me, that because I came from a large family, that I was missing something, even though I wasn't missing anything at all. And I'm thinking, what am I missing? What am I missing? What is it that I've missed? And so just me in my mind trying to play catch up, like, oh my God. And then having a family, I was like, well, I'm going to have a large family because I'm going to let them know that they won't miss anything. Whatever it was, I'm going to find out what I missed. And whatever it is that I missed, I'm going to prove it because I'm going to have a large family. That was ignorant. And I just got blessed in my ignorance with my wonderful children that I have.
You do have good children. You have
Thank you.
phenomenal children.
So with now, the reason why their mindset has changed and the reason why they're gifted in different ways, and the reason why they're strong athletically is because children don't play outside anymore. My kids were running around. They were running up and down the street. They were playing chase. I would take them to the park and the playground. They're playing hide and go seek and tag, and that adds the speed on. I mean, just like little things. And then I would read to them at night, and we would watch movies, and then we would have discussions about them. But we would do all that without the memberships, without the things to do. And so just coming from that family, even if I had a small family now, I would honestly say, really let your children know that you love them regardless of what you have. Something happened in the conversations that people were saying, oh, how many people do you have in your family? Oh my God, that's crazy. But they had never met my parents. They had never seen my house. They had never met my siblings. So they didn't know. They just heard. They were like, you got, two brothers, two sisters. That's crazy. And I was like, oh my God, is it? Why is
Yeah,
it
yeah,
crazy? Why is it crazy? I mean, people have large families all the time. If you think about farmers, most of
yeah.
their families are big.
That's right.
But if you really, the self-esteem part and then the self-love is what I've introduced. My children would say, I have my own brain and I'm my own human and I have my own thoughts and I can think for myself. They're not
That's
on
right.
social media a lot. They're not on Chat GPT trying to write papers for school. But like we nixed that. I need to see you write your own paper first. You're going to go to the library and get a book. And you're going to read that book and then you're going to write your paper. And then I'm going to read it and we're going to work it out together. We're going to do the corrections together. They hate
Yeah.
that. We can use it at school. I don't care what you're using at school. This is what we're doing because you got to keep that faculty above, that muscle working.
Yeah.
And if we can read the book, The Hidden Rules, and train our own mindset to be different than permission based, and we can own and be sovereign and not be happy, even at the risk of being happy, right? Forget happiness. I want ownership. If we can teach them that, then the next generation will have that. We've been
Mhm.
so busy just accepting and not questioning that that's the learned behavior that they're getting. So
Yeah.
now I've got to go back and say, hey, these apps, what are we giving away? What are we doing? And so
Yeah.
if there's one thing that I would share with the audience as we close, it would be one, to make sure that you love yourself. Build your own self-esteem up outside of the world, outside of likes and reshares. And outside of what everyone in your club is saying. You don't have to drop your financial, we had to go from like a CPA to a financial planner to a wealth manager because of cost segregation. Because we had, our properties and we have to do things that they don't know it at that level. It's intentional.
Yes.
So once you have to switch gears, you're able to say that. And then it's like, hey, I'm here. You know where. You can do that yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, if you really said that you're smart enough, you've gotten this far, you could do it yourself. Is there some value to somebody that has that knowledge? Absolutely. But do we give them complete control? And you don't, because like I said, right now, if I had somebody that was just managing everything for me, I'd be freaking out right now.
Yeah.
With the Strait of Hormuz, sorry, and the situation that is happening throughout the world and what other countries are going through and what the farmers are doing right now and how they're coming online and how people don't really understand what
Mm-hmm.
is happening with the farmers and how that infrastructure is being depleted in real time. We got to
Yeah.
start using our brain. We really got to start coming to ourselves and discern the times.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that is kind of you know, uh, the value of right now, the opportunity of right now is to be grounded, is to come back into reality. It's to look at the things in a different way and have some adaptability to what is happening. And it may be forced on us. I don't know. We have a lot of privilege in this country, but that privilege isn't going to last forever at this
Yeah.
rate. It's not. And so I think with the wealth rules and the hidden rules, when people start to see for themselves the game and how it's played, and they
Hmm.
can remove themselves from it, that is a point of self love. There is such an empowering there's an empowering process that happens when you suddenly are okay with being disliked or
Hmm.
having people disagree with you and allowing them their disagreement and you allowing what's good for you. And that power of being disliked or the power of not fitting in
Hmm.
or the power of choosing you over choosing the thinking trendy mindset that is of today. It's you choosing you. That kind of core essence, when you get that, and if you can teach that to your children, you have a quality of life that other people don't have. They just don't have it. And so it's like, it's not more means more life. It's more you means more life.
Hmm.
More shopping doesn't mean more life. More you means more quality of life.
Hmm.
And then when you have what you want and you enjoy what you want, really truly enjoy that, then you can die and say, yes, I lived. And that's where we're really headed to. And I just want to thank everybody for Jules. You were the first, and you were the only person who hung out with us for the whole 2 hours today. And it was a small unit of people. This is our seventh podcast together.
Yes.
We're definitely going to be growing this. It's twice a week now. You can find us Tuesday and you can find us Thursday, Tuesday and Thursday.
Thursday.
And if you haven't, if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay, but subscribe, go down and subscribe to us right now and be part of the Wealth Rules community and find out how we build wealth differently. And
Hmm.
I always just love talking with you. It is so cool to be on this show with you and just have these conversations out loud, sharing mistakes and what I wouldn't do and how I would do this differently. I mean, I
Yes.
think it's so important. And I just want to say thank you, my friend. I love working with you.
And thank you as
And
well.
thank you. We'll see you guys next week. All right. We'll talk to you later. Have a good day.